Hello and welcome everyone to my latest Let's Play series, the Let's Play solo play actual play of the Fabula Ultima series. Well, not the series, but the Fabula Ultima RPG using Dragon Quest 3 as its base. You know what I said? I almost said Dragon Warrior, and I said Dragon Warrior 3 in the Let's Play announcement because I originally played this game as a child as Dragon Warrior 3 on the original NES system. But so this is a very old and familiar game to me, and I am playing with the new 2D HD remake to refamiliarize myself with the system. But I hope you will find it interesting either way, and I can not only play this game, but give my insights on not only the Dragon Quest series, but the Fabula Ultima game as well. So let's start out. The, I'm creating most of my maps and using RPG Maker. Let's see. Yes, the latest, or well, not exactly late, MZ. Uh, Yes, I'm using RPG Maker MZ, not the latest one, which I've heard the Unity one was not that good. But anyway, we're scrolling down, and in this map of, say, the southwest corner of Elihan, which is the hero's starting village. And we have here, I did not create I did not get a sprite for his mother, but when we start the game, the hero, the son of Ortega, is summoned to the castle in which he walks. And since I am a guy, I'll probably just use the male version of the hero. We'll just walk walk up to the castle, and we have passed by what would be an item shop, and probably talking to one of the villagers, but they're not that good, and you want to limit to how much I have to talk to myself. So you go into the castle, and I do have that. No, I have to get the. Oh, sorry about this, people. Uh, I forgot to download the King sprite, the King token. And you meet the king, and he says that, "Hello, you are the son of Ortega who has disappeared, and we want you to go and fight the evil Archfiend Baramos. No one knows about Baramos, but he's very evil and bad, and you need to beat him." And that's pretty much all he says in the original version. But in the H2D 2D HD remake, you have a chancellor over here who gives you a lot of information and tells you to what your basic steps with the first dungeon and stuff is. But either way, the next thing that you're supposed to do is go back out of town, out of the castle, and you can talk to people. But the important thing is for what you need to do is you need to go over here, this next to the the left side of the screen, but just go up to this inn-looking place, which is called a Patty's party planning place, or I think something like that. But you go over and you go to talk to Patty, and she will hook you up with your adventuring companions. And right now, I'll just show you what Jackie can do. I named him after my stuff. Oh, start up. Name Jackie. The I didn't in each Fabula Ultima character. The important thing is you have an identity and a theme, and I picked the Dragon Quest hero, which you have a fairly standard hero across all the games. Dragon Quest is pretty much close to the bone as being one of the more, I would say, generic game. Uh, Partially because I think of the reason why this is, well, it was one of the oldest JRPGs, but the company that made it, Enix, merged with Square to become Square Enix, and I think they had with their two main JRPG lines. So, well, they're Japanese companies, so they'd be JRPGs, of course. Is they had Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and the thing is, Dragon Quest, they decided to be their more back to the roots line, where they had after that Final Fantasy veered off into sci-fi techno-punk, but that's neither here nor there. But also with each Dragon Quest character, not Dragon Quest, but Fabio Ultima character, you have your bonds, and the thing is, the character in Dragon Quest 3, well, any of the Lotus series, isn't really much of a character, and really, the hero isn't usually much of a character in the later games either. But I did pick some bonds for his father Ortega and his loyalty to Eliahan. And you have your stats. Your stats in Family Ultimate are dexterity, insight, which is your intelligence, might, which is your constitution and strength, and willpower, which is equivalent to your wisdom and charisma for those coming over in D&D. No, you start up with D8 in all of them, and in Fable Ultima, your stats are a dice rather than a bonus, and you can average them out to D8, but you can also increase one of the attributes to a D10, and have the other one reduced to a D6. You can do this once or twice. And I decided, since he's the main hero who stands in front of the party and is supposed to be a fighter type, I went for the high might. And those are his and the stats. There's not much you have to think about rather than what you want your high stat to be. And then we went to equipment. I went with the basic. They call it the bronze sword in the. Let's let's go to equipment. They call it the bronze sword in this game, but this is a Dragon Quest based game, so I decided to just call it the copper sword, which is the copper sword is your basic sword starting out in some of the in I would say most of the games three going forward for your hero, or any soldier, warrior type character. That's their base starting weapon. I say that because in one you pretty much had to start with a club, but which is a step down from them. But again, neither here nor there. Which you have these stats, and I picked the picked the Wayfarer's clothes, which is the combat tunic, and a non-magical shield for equipment. But the other thing is, in Fabula Ultima, unlike most RPGs, you start at level 5 and you always multi-class. So what I decided to go with, since the main hero for Dragon Quest games, except for two, which you're just a straight fighter, is you're a combination of a fighter and wizard, and I decided to go with, for my fighter class, the weapon master. I can show you the press start. The weapon master class. There's three main warrior classes in Fabula Ultima, being the Fury, the Guardian, and the Weapon Master. And I went with Weapon Master because two things. One is the Blaze Storm ability, which would mimic a hero's Falcon Slash ability or Giga Slash that the hero gets in later games, and including the remake of Dragon Quest III. And I also went because you can also get melee weapon mastery, which increases your attack attack accuracy with your weapons, which is important. I'll explain why in later version. And I also went with spiritualist, which is the sort of cleric or white mage or priest version of the game, which I picked one spell, which is heal, and spiritism, which is your spiritism rituals, which rituals being your whatever you want to use for utility magic. So I decided to go with these because one of the basic things the hero starts out with is heal, and heal is important. But that is the character. However, in every game except for the first one, and this is not a Dragon Quest One solo play, actual play, you get several heroes to join your party. However, in three, I decided to not go with the basic heroes, since even though the hero in Dragon Quest III is very, you could almost say bland. He's a character insert. The people you recruit are even more so. So I wanted to go pick a couple characters from later Dragon Quest games. First, being a bandit warrior, Yangus, or Blimey, Sen, which I went with him. Didn't I really say with him? I'd say loyal to the hero, but he doesn't really have that much. I thought I filled it out. Oh yeah, I did fill him out. It's okay. There it goes. Okay. So the thing is with Yangus, I decided just to make him big and strong since he's a big, strong bandit who wields an axe. So I went with might for a D10, which Or should I go for, yeah, go for willpower. Since he is a warrior slash rogue, so he doesn't really need that much in the way of NP. For equipment, I went for the big old bandit axe, which in each weapon in Fabula Ultima takes a, let's see, let's go back to equipment. Yeah, it has two stats, like dexterity and might is the most common one. But I went for with Yangus to pick a might plus might, which is the heavy category. So he rolls 2d10 when you want to, whenever I want to have him hit something with it, and does a whopping plus 14. And I went with bronze plates since I wanted heavy armor, and Yangus can equip heavy armor. Not only because of his classes, but he could also do that in Dragon Quest 8. So he gets, with heavy armor, you get your your basic physical defense is a static number rather than your dice plus a bonus, which is what light armor would be. With Yangus, I decided to go with the Fury because in later Dragon Quest games like 8 or 11, you can get uh, get sort of a limit break meter, which I think would just fit pretty much any almost any character in say that those later games. So picked him to big old big and tanky. So he has the withstand abilities. And he's also a rogue. So I picked the pick some rogue abilities for him. Since rogue is a class in Fabula Ultima, Fabula Ultima, rogue is not a warrior or magic class. It's more of utility class in a way because you get all the most of these benefits that don't affect combat directly as much as they would a warrior or a class. And also, each class gets its benefit, free benefit for picking it. And the rogue's free benefit is that you can increase your inventory points. So, Angus, uh, you get all these abilities, and I might add something like Wyvern's Wing because it's Dragon Quest. It's a Dragon Quest game. So yes, he has an inventory point ability equal to 8 rather than 6 for most people. And I'll just put him in an 8. And that's Yangus. And for a third person in the party, I just decided to pick Veronica from Dragon Quest 11. And here's her character sheet. Uh, the thing is with Veronica, she's the sort of the polar opposite of either Yangus or the hero. Which, see, for example, her stats, she has a very weak might since she's a tiny little girl. I wouldn't make all girls like that. Like if I was like picking Jade or Lena, but and I might switch the characters out for someone like them. I wouldn't put them with the dinky old max deck, but she is a wizard, so she needs a big willpower, and big willpower means big HP max and low HP max. But that's generally how mages work. And for equipment, I gave her an Cypress stick, but in Fabula Ultima, you can have weapons known as arcane weapons. Let's see. Like here, which use the willpower stat for when you want to attack with them. And if insight is your main ability, you pick the tome. And so she can attack normally without having to use her MP for every attack, but she has a fair amount of abilities, a fair amount of attack stats, which is good for her, which you certainly need, no matter who you are. And for her classes, since you have to pick two, and the thing is, a lot of Dragon Quest characters, as I said, it's very much closer to the roots. I went for Elementalist, which is their sort of the base wizard class, and I picked sort of the basic fire spell and vortex. And I was supposed to, I didn't fill this out all correctly, but the other class, I wanted to add, I forgot, I think didn't save it properly, was the Intrapist, which can get free, your free benefits as the Intrapist, both that and the Elementalist, is you get 5 more MP with your base starting class. So actually, I'll just add it right now. And this, and let's see, what did I want to have her? I'll have her the absorb MP because you can never run out, never have too many. And the thing is, in Fabula Ultima, you're supposed to always have at least 2 classes, or ultimately 3. I'm gonna, yeah, bump her up to level cast mentalism rituals. So yes, or set that should be her stance. And yes, slight MP increase. You get 2 hit points every level. And the thing is, she also get a second mage type class. So she has a maximum of 65 MP for her spells. And I think that's it for the characters. And I think that is long enough for a first video, mostly explaining how the various characters act. Yeah, I decided to go with Veronica because I looked at some of the other classes, and if I wanted a mage, I was thinking there's about 3 other mages, and one of them would also be the dancer class, being I think it's mean or mine, I forget which one's which. But I wasn't too fond of the dancer class, and yeah, it was either that or Boria or Jessica, I think, for your basic wizard types. Although I could have thought of other ones if I wanted to go with one of the other games, but I decided to settle on Veronica for my third character. But yeah, I think that's long enough for a first video. In the second video, we'll actually go adventuring, and I'll explain a bit how combat and travel works. And I hope you found this session enjoyable, entertaining, and hopefully very informative. Thank you and have a good day.